Remember that this mantle is hot and parts of the mantle are moving. And then we have the crust. The crust sits on top of the mantle in pieces or plates. And because parts of the mantle are moving, that means parts of my crust are moving. And that's what we want to look at. Remember that continents and oceans are sitting on top of this crust. And those plates are moving, and one way those plates can move is those plates can actually move apart. When they move apart, that mantle actually forms new crust. And when the plates move apart, this is happening under the ocean. Actually, new crust is added as those plates move apart. And right here, as the plates move apart, the mantle cools down and it forms new crust. So we've seen that plates can actually move apart, but let's take a closer look at what happens when plates slide past each other. Okay, so we've zoomed in so we can take a closer look at what happens when the plates slide past each other. Watch what happens as I slide the plates past each other. It's important to remember, it's not a smooth ride. It's actually quite bumpy. In fact, that bumpy ride as plates slide past each other, that's what creates earthquakes. So we talked about what happens when plates move apart, and what happens when plates move past each other. Well, what happens when plates bump into each other? So we've zoomed in again to see what happens when one plate collides with another. What happens is when the plates come together and collide, one plate goes under and the other plate stays on top. Take a look at that plate that's going under the other one. That plate will actually melt because it's so hot in the mantle. So far we've taken a look at what happens to the crust when the plates move under the ocean. But what happens when those plates move and there's a continent on top of the crust? Okay, we zoomed in, we have our mantle, we have our crust. Let's add some continents. What happens when the plates move together and collide when there's a continent on top? Well, watch what happens. As the plates collide, the continents collide, and I'm going to push, and what do you see happening? So what is that? What did we just make? Well, actually, this is the way moving plates make mountains.